I'm Kara Oster. Welcome to Last Friday, the June edition. I'm here as a guest host with our regular host, Brian Leonard, and we are going to talk to Brian about the show today and why he created it and a little bit of his background in media. So it's been about 5 years since we met each other, Brian, and it was actually in media that we met each other.
Right.
And coming up with that will be a very important anniversary. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So that's what's great is we met during the Occupy movement, during the Occupy winter, I think it was. And so Portland still had a camp going, one of the last camps to close down. And you and I did some work on what was called Occupy Maine TV. Mm-hmm. And that show was brought about because the corporate media just wasn't covering the Occupy movement anywhere in a respectable way. I mean, it was missing all of the great community building and teaching and learning that we were all doing during that movement. And I was shocked that they never came in and talked to us about that. They just wanted to get the people that were, they set up their cameras right in front of our garbage tent. Mm-hmm. They just tried to find the worst way to frame us, and that's kind of how Occupy Maine TV started, was just out of that frustration that no one was capturing. That was really a beautiful moment in history.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are frustrated too that when they got to the Occupy camp, they were learning about all of these issues that weren't on the news. So it was just a stroke of luck that I came down to Portland and met up with you, and we talked about taking these issues that people just had no idea about until Occupy happened and putting them up for even more people to see, which I think was a lot of the message and the mission of Occupy, to really spread awareness.
Right. Student loan debt was one of those big ones during that time.
Yep.
But I mean, there was tons of them. I mean, healthcare is a human right. Mm-hmm. These are all things, right, that we're seeing. And finally, 5 years later, Bernie Sanders was able to say a lot of what he said and run as a democratic socialist. I think because you could see that there was so much energy for that kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, obviously Bernie Sanders, long before the Occupy movement, was a really great, cool senator and did a lot of great work. But I think that Occupy movement helped warm up. It made it even possible for a guy to run and say on national television that he was a democratic socialist. I mean,
yeah.
In this country, that's pretty good. Coming from someone that lived through the Reagan years, man, it looked scary. And it is still scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of censorship in the media, that's for sure. And I mean, we're seeing a lot of corporate influence, especially in this election year. So.
Yeah. In fact, if they'd given Sanders what they gave Trump, no one would have heard of Trump. All they had to do was just stop, covering his craziness. And that's, actually, and I'm glad, that you're helping be a part of the show, helping to, maybe in an unofficial capacity, whether you like it or not, you're helping to mentor the show in a way and sort of, I don't influence it in your way, because I really respect, since we met, respect the way you've been able to handle things, and in a lot of our, I'll say it this way, a lot of sensitive social issues that go on that I'm not as sensitive to, that you've helped me with, and so it's really great to have your outlook be a part of this show. And I think that's why why you came on. In fact, I'll tell you this. We almost didn't have a show this month because we had some guests canceled because of, there's probably many reasons, but one of the bigger reasons was what happened in Orlando.
Yeah. I still cannot wrap my mind around that.
Yeah. And so it was a late cancel just by the timing of it, which had happened 5 days ago, 6 days ago? No, we're recording on
No, that was
Saturday. Didn't it happen last Sunday?
It was actually, yeah, it was about 2 weeks. Well, it'll.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we're referencing what happened in Orlando, which many of our viewers here might know. So there was a shooting at a club called The Pulse in Orlando, and it was on a Latinx night. And one man went in with assault rifles and killed he killed 49 people, and he injured over 50. It happened right at the beginning of Pride Week, which was a really disturbing juxtaposition to what happened last year when gay marriage was just approved. And that was kind of the kickoff of Pride Week. So
you're right.
We were, Brian and I were talking about, making sure that we reference that, because it is so important to keep talking about it and keep bringing light to that, to those issues, because a lot of people feel that since gay marriage went through, there's, it's everything is okay, but we want to acknowledge the victims, their families, their friends, anybody that was affected by that. I think we all were in some way, shape, or form, but
all of us. I'm wearing my Pride shirt. I was not in town this year. Neither one of us were, unfortunately, for
I was in
the Portland
Ohio.
Pride. Yeah. So I'm wearing mine from last year, but it was very difficult. We were trying to have a show with that community after the Pride week was up, and it was hard for them. They had a lot to do because of what happened. And,
there's a lot of recovery that needs to be done.
So what my original point was that I was going to cancel this month, and Kara talked me into coming on and talking about some of the things that we can talk about, and that she could interview me. And I just think that's a sensational idea because, it is. You didn't want me to slow down the momentum, and I really appreciate that.
Well, you're very welcome. I think in light of a tragedy like that, we can remember that this work is so important to be continuing to raise awareness of the different activists and organizations that are here or around the state. And I think I'm very happy to be part of the show with you, Brian, because I feel very motivated to raise those voices up and give them some spotlight. So it just makes sense that we would spotlight you this month and maybe give a little bit of the background. Now, we talked about Occupy, but if you want to talk about a little of the stuff that you've been doing since Occupy before this show, in terms of media, I think we would all be a little interested to hear that.
Well, certainly, and we're on the this is the magic of blue screen, and so we'll see how I can cut this in. But so I forgot. During the Occupy movement, I changed my major from behavioral health to media, communications, new media. I decided to go into creating media, independent media, and so I've been doing that. And along the way, I've had to pick up equipment to do so, and including hard drives to hold all of the things that I record. And most of it, 99% of it, I think, is voluntary. I really definitely want to capture the history of stuff that happens in Maine that corporate media does not pay attention to, does not record. The initial reason why I picked up a camera in the first place during the Occupy movement. So unfortunately, what happened to me this past couple of months ago is that I lost a hard drive with all of last year's and this year's recordings. There's a few things that are still that were like on my phone, and that were not on that drive specifically that I have, but it's all like pieces, and I have video but not the audio, and I have it's very frustrating, but
Yeah, that happens a lot, and unfortunately with this technology, but...
There is a way, and I'm not going to plug that here and now, but I know there's a way to start to keep that from happening. But you have to buy 3 drives, for the size of one, so it takes money.
Yeah, or you just need to motivate other people, maybe like you, who are watching to do the same thing that you did and pick up a camera, and the more footage we can have out there, the better.
That's a great point. And that is the project, and that is what, for me, my project is to create a statewide sort of independent media.
What is that called?
That is Main Sky Media, and I'm developing a website called the Main Sky right now. So I've got Main Sky Media, which is recording us right now.
Oh, okay.
And then that will take this and put it on the Main Sky.
That's great.
Okay, so then what I want you all to do in the community is when you get around, if you don't see me or someone else like Martha, Martha, oh my God, I forgot her last name. She's going to kill me. But you all know her, and or Regis Tremblay, or you've got to get your cameras out. You've got to record some events, and you can send them to me, and we'll compile this aggregate of what we are doing here in Maine to stop the corporate killing of our planet and our sort of the way they take away from the people. In the name of tax cuts.
Yeah, there's so many ways that they take away. Now, is there a way for people who maybe have smartphones, since a lot of us have smartphones nowadays, to send that footage to you?
Absolutely, and I'd need them to get a hold of me, but it's very simple, and even people that are new to smartphones or new to videography, none of that is nearly as important as, we'll get to the very easy technical stuff, but being there to witness it, and I would love people that have any passion for writing, where you could seriously just become photojournalists. I can imagine, just recently, some people from Maine went to upstate New York to protest, I believe it was the oil trains, and I couldn't go. But I know that people from Maine did go, and wouldn't it be great had someone could have seriously done a photojournalism, just like back in the day, and take some pictures of what they see, send it to me, and do a write-up of what happened.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, and
pictures are worth 1,000 words.
Free and easy, and that is essentially it. There was a time when if it wasn't written, it didn't happen, right? It just didn't happen. And nowadays, if you don't have video proof, if you don't have some sort of proof of it, then things don't happen. And that's what I see happening in our community. Too many things are going by undocumented. So we have no proof to tell our children that we were trying.
Yeah,
we were trying, to create a better world for them and
pass on that legacy.
Yeah, and it's just it's that important. And I don't want to go off into the 1984, conspiracy theory stuff, but it is the corporate media is not for people, it's for corporations.
Yeah, and so it's really great that we're doing this show out of the community television network here in Portland.
CTN5.
Yeah, where there's a lot of great local shows that go on here, and you can get involved you can learn how to use the cameras and
for free. You might be a small fee to learn some things, but what a great resource this is, and undeveloped, underutilized resource.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's fun, and that's it's hard to, I know that it comes across, I would come across as, and kids, it's fun. Hey, but it is. You don't have to do what we're doing here. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and it's a great way to spend your time rather than watch it. It's way better to make it.
Yeah.
So. And yeah, this is a web series. It doesn't have to be just television. And yeah, so.
Yeah. And there's too, for anybody who's kind of, believe it or not, shy about cameras like I am.
Right.
I don't mind actually being in front of a camera as much as I mind being behind the camera. Right. Although sometimes. But you can also, now that you know about Main Sky Media and the CTN website and Facebook, you can go on there and you can share the footage that they put up. You can share these shows, and that's a really great way to help spread the awareness and give this media a boost, because it's people powered, which I think is what Brian has been about for a very long time.
Right. Well, yeah, if people that know me would know that, and I'm not the only one. The community that I cover has taught me, that's where I learned it from, and what a great community we have in Maine.
Yeah, especially here in Portland.
I know, it's good. And it doesn't have to be on the Main Sky, right? You can, like CTN, if you grabbed a camera and wanted to do your own thing, you can record 3-minute clips and have your own presence on CTN's website, and they will filter in some of your stuff between shows. So if you see someone, say, giving a short talk on something like at City Hall or at a school, an important talk, those are great things. They don't have to be officially done, Let's not miss the moment in history. Let's get it, out there so that people can see it, because really, it's like the tree in the woods, saying that if it falls and no one's there to cure it, did it actually happen? Great philosophical question.
Yeah, these are some big thoughts. So maybe we'll take a little bit of a break from this moment in history for you to digest this, and then we will come back and talk more about what Last Friday is as a show and what Brian's done with it so far and what he looks forward to doing in the future. Right.
And Wesley will be here too.
Yeah, and Wesley. Wesley is one of the guests on the show. He is the same age as the show. He's just 4 months, so you may see him around. You may see him growing. He's here as a friend.
Brian, I'm really glad you showed up, and you told me a great story about the song you're about to play.
Yes.
Why don't you? I'm going to step off camera and let you go to it. And thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, this song is actually was hard for me to play for a while, and I just came back to Portland after living here for a year and lost a friend to an overdose here. And I ended up writing this song, or rewriting this song and reworking it to be pretty much about my buddy passing.
Found him yesterday morning. Found him lying there next to his gun. Feeling awful for his daughter mourning. Well, they're calling it a hit and run. Hit and run. Can you believe that? Hit and run down the street. So I called this old lady down. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. I want nothing to do. I'm gonna catch you while you're young. Come on, feel that thunder, baby. Come on, feel that rain. Come the river. Threw my gun right over the bridge. Threw my life right over the river. Threw my soul right under that bridge. Mamba took my only brother's life. Black Mamba shot my only brother down. Black Mamba took my only brother's life. Right over the river. Threw my life right over that bridge.
Thank you.
Yeah, what incredible music that was. Ryan definitely has a rhythm.
I love it. I know. It's so funny sometimes, the synchronicity of things. And Ryan's story was just, moving to me. And I wouldn't, it's not like I just always pluck musicians from the street, but what he was talking about was very, about his friend was very poignant. And so I had to bring him in. So,
that's great.
Fair enough. We'll see more of him, I hope, in the future.
Yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about who else besides Ryan we've seen on the show so far?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So Jonah Fertig, all of the guests are important, and Jonah Fertig, among them will be one of my favorite guests. And his show got lost with the hard drive failure. And that was tragic. But I told him about it, and we'll have him on. But he has this Principle 6 conference that happens every year, and the following day after recording him here, we went up to Principle 6 and shot that all day long, and that got lost. So it was rough. I mean, it was a big loss, and but we'll have him on the show again. And we've had Megan Lasala on the show from the Southern Maine Workers Center.
Yeah.
And she is just everywhere, it seems, in social and environmental justice, and I think she's a rock star, as is Jonah, in my book. Anyway, I was very happy to have them both on, and then we had a whole crew from the Meg Perry Center. Was our first show.
Yeah, because we were on the board of directors of the Meg Perry Center, so we wanted to give a little shout out and a little time to the Meg Perry Center.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jonah was also involved originally with the Meg Perry Center, but he got his own show because he does so much with the cooperatives.
Cooperative
and local sprouts
business is the future. And so we'll get back to that, but that is the future of our economy if we want to have an economy.
Yeah, that seems
opinion, as corporations are the system seems to be falling over in Europe right now, and we'll see when a week from now after I edit this where things fall, where things are at. But stock up now. Who knows what's going to happen? But
well, before things fall apart in Europe and we have to end the show, can you talk a little bit about what you were hoping to see in the future for Last Friday?
This show it's important. The Meg Perry Center is a little bit of in the DNA of this show, having an open space for people to come in and Wesley, a good dog. He knows that I'm about to wrap it up. He wants to. Yeah, he's a good dog. So I really want there to be sort of like a potluck ahead of time. So it's an event. It's an event and a what do you call it? A casual recording with open, interactive audience. So I really wanted to, not to be a party, but I want people to come in and celebrate other, activists' work. So we don't ask you to come down and take minutes or clean up or anything. It's it is a part of activism, I guess, when you come down here. But we need a place where we are networking, off the clock and enjoying each other's company without work, in my opinion. And I really wanted to see that take off. So no matter what if you're social justice or environmental justice, animal justice, we want to, let's get together and let's not forget each other and bring that, community back together. I miss it from Occupy. I miss it from the Meg Perry Center. And so that's what's sort of my hope on the show.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah.
And I think we might try and do one outside either next month or August. Yeah.
It would be nice weather for it.
Yeah. So while we have some weather, so we'll see. I mean, it's a tougher challenge, but I don't. Again, it's a more of a casual recording. It doesn't have to be a staunch, cut action, Hollywood talk show.
Yeah.
We're just having fun here and getting some information out.
Yeah.
Which you can do too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we've had a chance to talk, and to wrap it up, Brian does this show last Friday on the last Friday of each month. How easy is it to remember that? Normally it's from 6 to 8. So you can come be part of his potluck at 6, and then the recordings at 7, live audience.
Yeah.
So you can come be part of the audience, you can be on the show, you can help with the show.
Light casual music from here on out too. So we'll have some musicians during the potluck, and likely their music will enhance the show too in some way. So.
And there'll be cute puppy dogs.
Yeah, Leslie's gonna be here, buddy.
All right.
He's the whipped cream. All right.
Well, thank you for watching tonight. I'm Kara Oster.
I'm Ryan Leonard. Thanks.
And this is Wesley.
Wesley.
And have a good night.
Thanks, guys.